What's up, everybody? This is Brandon with Lines on Paper, and this is my review of Heroes in Crisis number 8 from DC Comics. Before we get started, please excuse the frog in my throat. It is spring here where I live, and my allergies are in full swing, but we're going to get through this anyway. So, this wasn't the book that I planned on reviewing this week. I planned on reviewing Heroes in Crisis as a full series once it wraps up next month, but this came out today, and a lot of fans are having a hard time with this one, and quite frankly, I don't blame you. So there are going to be a few spoilers in this one. We can't really look at it without having that, so let's just go ahead. So in this one, we have the answer to the massacre at the Sanctuary, which is the kind of superhero rest and relaxation facility. And that murderer turned out to be Wally West himself. He faked his own death as part of the carnage, and he's hacked the Speed Force to travel back and forth through time and cover up his misdeeds. And this entire issue is pretty much just a one-man monologue of Wally West recounting the time he was there at Sanctuary, and then the murder itself. And a lot led up to this. A lot of the clues were there, but I think what kept a lot of fans from seeing it was the fact that, one, a lot of people probably believe that Wally West was truly dead, and two, the fact that a lot of fans probably didn't want to believe that Wally West was the murderer. They just figure we were being led that way. And with one issue left, I suppose that still could be the case, but that'd be not a lot of time for a redemption arc for Wally here. So, a lot of fans are looking at this as, what was the point of Rebirth and bringing him back if you're just going to kind of trash his character like this? And I understand that sentiment. I say I share it a little bit. I don't see a lot of reason to take him down this path. I don't think it's in character for Wally West to do this, even with the buildup of the superhero PTSD and everything else that it's revealed through this series that a lot of superheroes are suffering from. And I'll get more into that when I do the series review, which I still plan to do next month, as far as some of the highs and lows I thought of this storyline as it went along. But, as far as this issue goes, this reveal, I wasn't expecting it when I went into this series, certainly. Excuse me. And I know a lot of the other readers weren't either. I know a lot of people aren't happy with this reveal. I can't say that I'm very happy with this reveal. I think the story overall has had some weak points to it, and the whole story as a DC event seems kind of a why did we have to have this story type of a question. Why did we need to explore this aspect? While I think it asks a few good questions, I think that the idea of superheroes having these problems, while very real world, kind of takes away from what separates them from other people, that they can bear these burdens that other people can't. And if all of a sudden they can't bear these burdens that other people can't, then what makes them so super? So I don't know. I would really be curious to hear what other people had to think of or had to say about this. So please post in the comments below what you think of my reflection on this issue and the overall tone of the series. I think it would be very difficult to talk about this series at all without comparing it to the series that I think it most tried to be like, which is Identity Crisis by Brad Meltzer and Rags Morales. Now, this storyline did the same thing as Heroes in Crisis, where it went into the human side of the superhero. It tried to see what they were like behind the scenes when they're not being superheroes, and when the things that are link them to their humanity are under assault. In this case, it was kind of their support system, the side characters. The heroes' family members, the wives, the extended family, they were coming under assault, and the heroes were feeling powerless to do anything about it. And I thought this story, one, probably did a better job humanizing its characters. When you see these heroes have all these abilities and are able to take on these threats, but then they can't protect their home and they can't protect their loved ones, what good are they? That was an interesting question to me. The story also reflects on the villain angle with Dr. Light, the extent the heroes went to kind of cover up his crimes, or to punish him for his crimes, I should say, as well as dealing with themes like sexual assault, themes like mistrust in a marriage, real compelling questions that I thought had really compelling answers and gave us a lot of great moments. Didn't skimp on the superhero angle. As we see this Deathstroke image facing off with members of the Justice League is still, in my opinion, one of the best fights I've ever seen in DC Comics. So I think where this book succeeded in just about every area that Heroes in Crisis failed, if that makes sense. And I think part of this goes to what comic books are as a medium, what we expect out of our comics. Comics have always kind of risen to their highest heights when they're able to ask compelling questions, when they don't have censorship and they don't have so many watchdogs watching what it is they can do. You know, when they can tackle themes like violence, they can tackle themes like sexuality, they can tackle themes like violence at home, they can tackle themes like horror and terror. And really, you go and buy your comics because you don't know what to expect, because they'll deliver something new. They'll deliver their medium where literally anything can happen, because the only limit to what they can put on the page is the writers and artists' imaginations. And so the fact that these days I see comic books that seem to be more erring on the side of caution and censor, that, in my opinion, has more to do with the decline of the comic book industry these days, more so than people's perceived, lack of diversity or over diversity, whichever end of the spectrum you happen to fall on. Too many comics coming out, the price of the cover price. I feel that I don't feel there's many compelling stories out there like there used to be, like comic books are known to be able to tell. And until the comic book industry decides to pivot back to what it's good at and stop putting these restraints on the creator, stop caving into people that don't read the comics, whether it be people who don't like the provocative nature of an image, people that don't like to see a hero of color on the page, or people who don't want to see a hero of color replace their hero, whatever somebody's issue may be. I definitely think that once the comics industry takes its reins back off and starts doing what it's good at, and realizes that it has fans that are adults and are sophisticated readers and who are demanding more from their storylines, people be willing to pay those higher cover prices if it's a story that they think is worth reading. And anyway, that'll be it for that rant. Here on Lines on Paper, as you know, I tend to stick to the positive. I like to celebrate the medium that we all love of comic books, rather than dog on it. So I'm going to do a quick double review this week. Another book I picked up, Spawn number 296. Spawn is barreling towards number 300, becoming the longest running independent comic book in history. And this book was interesting because we got Todd McFarlane is writing the history of Spawn. So if somebody's been away from the character for a while, this is going to be a good time to rejoin him. He's going to kind of recap the first 295 issues leading up to 300. It's got some really stunning art by Jason Shawn Alexander. I have to admit, I didn't like this guy when he first came on the title. He's growing on me a bit. I think he's definitely a different direction for Spawn visually, but I'm digging him on these storylines. I think Todd McFarlane's hit a stride in his writing right now. So I'm hoping that 300 treats us to some good Todd McFarlane artwork to go along with his story. But I enjoy revisiting Spawn's past, kind of told through a more modern lens. So give this one a try if you're interested in returning to the character, or maybe you've never been a fan of the character and want to know more about him as he gets to the big milestone 300, which I hear is going to be a big turning point for the character and a good jump on point. So past that, the poll list for this week, let's get right into it. Amazing Spider-Man number 20, Hunted Part 4 by Spencer and Humberto Ramos. Answers are finally starting to come in Craven's whole plan as Spider-Man stays trapped in Central City with the rest of the supervillains, and the Lizard kind of makes his move. So definitely good storyline there. Avengers War of the Realms tie-in. See what the Squadron Supreme is doing while the Avengers are dealing with the War of Realms. Interesting storyline there. Wildstorm. This is a book that I have really enjoyed, and I will do a series wrap-up on this one as well in a couple issues when it ends. If you're a fan of the old Wildstorm universe or are just looking for some new characters to get invested in, the Wildstorm has been a real fun ride. Definitely pick that one up. And Venom, War of Realms tie-in to see what he and the symbiote are up to while the world's kind of falling apart in the big crossover event. So that's what I have for this week. If you agree, disagree with my reviews, please let me know. Discuss in the comments. I'd love to hear what you guys have to think of Heroes in Crisis. The big reveal. You think it was good? Think it's bad? Think they did Wally dirty in this one? Let me know in the comments below. Be sure to hit like, subscribe. Always helps me out. If you're in a position to help the channel grow, please visit my Patreon page. Until then, I will have my spoiler-free review of Avengers Endgame, of course, on Friday, bright and early. So be sure to tune into that. That's going to be great. Hope everyone has a great week. See you later. Bye.